Now, students, we should look at some of the implications of economic order quantity. As we know now that economic order quantity is something which is robust in nature. When you say it is robust in nature, that means for any type of data for an organization, if the organization is looking, or if that enterprise is actually looking to minimize their cost function, which is in terms of ordering or setup cost and the holding cost, then economic order quantity will essentially give them the best quantity that will actually minimize their total cost. So it would be true for any business or any enterprise. So that means it is like one fit for all. In case you fulfill the assumptions of economic order quantity and you have the criteria of cost is actually based on your setup cost or ordering cost and the holding cost. So economic order quantity is, first of all, it is robust in nature. The second thing is, and the important characteristic of economic order quantity, which actually originates from the square root law. As you know, if you have seen the economic order quantity formula, that formula is actually something which is encompassed in under root or the square root, what we call. That has a mathematical implication. The mathematical implication is, if you have done some estimation error, let's say in demand, I assumed that the demand is 10,000 or 12,000 for a year, but there was some error in it. Let's say the error came because of some uncertainty or because of some seasonality. And it turned out to be that your demand was actually 14,000. So what was the error? That was like 2,000 computers per year, which I have made that error. Now, what would be the effect on the lot size? The lot size would not have that drastic effect. What does it mean? It means कि जिस वक्त आपके पास लेट्स से डिमांड एस्टिमेशन में 100% या 50% एरर मौजूद है या 10 या 20% एरर मौजूद है, तो EOQ पे उसका जो असर है दैट वुड बी मिनिमाइज्ड, वो कम होगा, इतना ज़्यादा नहीं होगा, ड्रास्टिक नहीं होगा. Why am I saying it? Because that is because of the square root law. If you take under root of 4, it would be 2. That means it has been minimized. Same is the case here. So if, let's say, the error is 20%, you may come up with what would be the effect on the lot size would be like minimum, maybe 3%, 4%. So economic order quantity model is actually insensitive in nature, which is actually the requirement. We do not want to have the error to be significantly passed to our lot size or order size. So these are the two important properties of economic order quantity. EOQ is robust in nature as well as insensitive in nature. It doesn't pass on the error effect that drastically. Significantly, it doesn't pass on. बहुत ज़्यादा उस effect को जो error किया हुआ है, जो estimation में error था, उसे pass on नहीं करता lot size पर. Other than that, we have some other implications which we will look at. So in deciding the optimal lot size, yes, for the basic or the classical model, the trade-off is between the setup cost and holding cost. Now, keep it in mind, there are organizations which would have the other cost criteria as well. Like one simple criteria, which we will also include, would be the transportation. So whenever I produce something as a manufacturer, I need to transport it. So we need to include, let's say, transportation in it. What about shortages? Economic order quantity actually didn't account for shortages according to the assumptions of economic order quantity. इसलिए हमने इसको classical model कहा था. It doesn't allow shortages. Shortages नहीं है. जिस वक्त आपके पास कोई inventory नहीं है, कोई order नहीं assume कर रहे आप. That is a bit of a classical thing, may not be realistic for some organizations or for some enterprises. So there we have to include the shortage cost as well. But keep it in mind, the total cost function would then be minimized, and that would be some मॉडिफिकेशन ऑफ इकोनॉमिक ऑर्डर क्वांटिटी, यही इकोनॉमिक ऑर्डर क्वांटिटी का फार्मूला रहेगा. इसमें चंद एक वेरिएशंस आ जाएंगे साथ में. यू वुड हैव सम फैक्टर्स एडेड और फैक्टर्स मल्टीप्लाइड. व्हाई? Because this foundation model actually gives you the two important properties, robust as well as insensitive. That is why we will actually build other models. Other cost criterias would be included in economic order quantity, but the foundation will remain economic order quantity. Basic criteria यही रहेगा. आप different cost को add करके you can actually make it according to your cost criteria, but the two properties which will propagate would of course be robustness and insensitivity. That is ये दो तीन चीजें we will discuss here. It would be, if demand increases by a factor of 4, it is optimal to increase batch size by a factor of 2. That is what I was talking about. Effect इतना drastic नहीं है. आपकी lot sizes पर उसका effect इतना ज़्यादा नहीं है. And produce twice as often. So that means if demand increases, you will actually increase your lot size, but not as much, but you will try to produce twice as much. Your cycle inventory in terms of days, here the emphasis would be on in terms of days, would actually be decreased as the demand increases. That means I would not have, on the average, the inventory which I am holding, the average inventory level would actually be lesser because demand has actually increased. Then, if a lot size is to be reduced, one has to reduce fixed order cost. This point is very important. Actually, to reduce lot size by a factor of 2, order cost has to be reduced by a factor of 4. Why is this important? Now, just keep it in mind at this point of time that in economic order quantity, we have assumed our production or our ordering to be incapacitated. When I'm saying incapacitated, that means वो उस पर कोई बजट एलोकेशन नहीं है. मैं आपसे कह रहा हूँ 980 कंप्यूटर्स एग्जांपल हमने डिस्कस की, 980 कंप्यूटर्स पर लॉट प्रोड्यूस करने हैं. लेट्स से आई डू नॉट हैव द रिसोर्सेज टू प्रोड्यूस 980 कंप्यूटर्स. क्या ईओक्यू में मेरी कैपेसिटी को इनकॉर्पोरेट किया गया था? नो. देयर वर एक्चुअली टू कॉस्ट क्राइटेरियाज. दैट वाज द सेटअप कॉस्ट एंड द होल्डिंग कॉस्ट. So it is being assumed that the manufacturer can actually produce it. Or in terms of retailer, अगर आप बात करें तो it is being assumed that retailer can actually order it. Let's say if I do not have the budget to buy it as a retailer, or if I do not have the resources to produce it, then still can I produce, or can I actually assume, or can I achieve economies of scale? That is the main point. Here, the point is, if you want to reduce your lot size according to your capacity, you need to reduce the order cost or the setup cost, which we call. Because that is the thing which can be controlled by the manufacturer or which can be controlled by the retailer. And it is also very important in implementing lean. The question is, which I am leaving you with, is it possible to achieve lean as well as economies of scale? That we will look in our future sessions. Thank you.